4 beats of a drum and a bell tell you nothing specific, but you keep listening for their messages and you keep responding to their tones. Four beats of a drum resonate through your muscles. Four beats of a drum flow through your bones. A bell clears your head. Four beats of a drum give your arms purpose. Four beats of a drum allow your legs to take your weight. Four beats of a drum resonate through your bones. Four beats of a drum pulse through your muscles. A bell opens your eyesight. Four beats of a drum curve your spine. Four beats of a drum send you to another place. Become a drum. Become the sound of a bell. Your body moves. Your mind takes notice. Let the drum beats fade. And let the bell ring out.
Okay, Coco. Okay. I see what's happening. See what's happening. I'm into this. All right. So are we going to talk about them now, or are we just going to go through everything and then talk later?
Can we go through them? I don't know. I feel like moving.
Okay. I'm with you. All right. Okay.
Mina, do you want to do yours?
I'm happy to do the small amount that I have. Absolutely.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. Acknowledge yourself. This can happen in a number of ways. It can be a simple thought. Perhaps you say a greeting to yourself. Maybe you touch a body part to another body part. Maybe you already have a ritual you use every day to acknowledge yourself, which you should certainly utilize now, if that is the case. And perhaps you're considering creating a ritual to use every day to acknowledge yourself. And maybe you start building that today. Now, while you're in the process of acknowledging yourself by touch, by words, by thought, Acknowledge your other self and all of your other selves, whatever that might mean for you. So this may take some time to consider your other selves. Are there other selves? And do they get acknowledged in the same way that you just acknowledged yourself? Through thought, through touch, through words. Suck in the air around you into your body and release it back out into space in ways that don't necessarily feel like breathing, even though you are definitely breathing. Consider that the drawing in and expelling of air can happen at any opening in your body, real or imagined. That there are openings all over you, all over the body, that could, real or imagined, suck in the air around you and release it back out into space. Real or imagined orifices, drawing in air and expelling it back out. Practice this for the next 30 seconds. Now carry this practice of taking in and releasing the air around you through any and all real or imagined openings for the rest of this experience. Reach your arms out away from your body and wiggle your fingers. Circle the head and touch the floor. Squeeze the body in toward itself, and then tippy toe in a circle. Still considering all the openings, real or imagined, of your body that are taking in air and expelling air. The arms start carving large shapes around you. Considering that the arms can find all the spaces above you, below you, real or imagined. Carving shapes, taking in the air around you, releasing the air out of you from all of the openings in your body, both real and imagined. Bounce lightly. Just a small, light bouncing of the body, letting the shoulders relax. It feels kind of like a jiggle, but consider that it's a bounce. Everything jumps out and away from you and then snaps back into the body. Everything jumps out and away from you, then snaps back into the body. Everything jumps out and away from you, then snaps back into the body. And the feet begin to draw angular shapes into the floor. Let the angular shapes become smaller, tiny gestures of angular shapes on the floor. And then let the body find some softness and some stillness and something that feels like floating, something that feels like the floating air around your body. And then if you haven't already considered it, perhaps think about your favorite opening, the favorite opening in your body that you would like to suck in the air and release it back out into space. And just focus on that part of the body, that opening is the thing taking in the air and releasing the air. And then we're finished. I could watch you all day. I don't need anything else. Oh my God. I'm just gonna watch y'all all day. Fucking hell. All right.
Mm. So we have this recorded. You have to listen to it, transcribe it, and actually record it.
All right.
I like that one.
I think that could be a thing.
Feels like a thing to me.
Okay.
Cole, do you wanna lead us?
Yeah, I'll say so.
And Noelle, if you wanna improvise one too, or do one, feel free. It's totally up to you.
Okay. Let's just take a couple deep breaths. Imagine the breath going to the filament between where you are in your room and the screen of us, where we are being. So believe in something. And then jump off into that belief with a wild dance of joy and grief. As you dance, take note of the energy or the space between where you are and your screen. Jumping off into your belief with joy and grief, taking note of the space between where you are and your screen. Like a filament, it's thick. And it has meaning, it has memory of what it's seeing. And your filament is talking to mine, and hers and hers. There's something about what happens in the time it takes the movement to get to you from your screen, from what we're doing, or like a mirror from what you do, what is seen. Imagine now you can float back to where you jumped from. Just carrying all of this belief. Breathe again into the filament between you and your screen. And like our favorite thing to say, find an ending.
Hmm.
You're so good at that, being like spontaneously poetic.
I'm gonna delete my Instagram, and if I create a new one, that's the title. So if a spontaneously poetic wants to friend you or fucking follow you or whatever, do it.
We can do another one. I was just looking through some stuff I've been reading to see if there's like something I can read, but not necessarily improvise. So we can do something else in between, if that's okay.
While you figure it out.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's do my second one, my other one. Ready?
Mhm.
This benevolent instruction will follow a path that attempts to explore a selection of ways that we feel our being in the world. The first part requires that you only listen for the logic of this attempt, although you may find yourself swaying and shifting slightly during the description. Listening. With as much honesty and non-judgmental energy as possible, embody or enact, or imagine and think through the following concepts, actions, and images. The body may not be the first site of representation for some of these statements and directives for you. You may feel that they can only reside in thoughts or objects of mind or intellectual deliberation. On the other hand, some may feel completely enrobed in bodily sensations and easily rendered through physical action. The fun in this exercise is to let go of conventional systems of processing concepts, actions, and images, and to play with where you allow them to show up. Easy action? What if you didn't physicalize it and only toyed with it in your imagination, letting the body rest from the obligation of doing it? Complicated, more abstracted concept? What if you gave your body access to this notion and let it give flesh to something that might more easily romp around in the mind? And then in between those options, you could choose to also allow the conventional pathway to determine your response. In any case, playfulness and a bit of what if guides the journey. Here we go. Listening continues, but action response and imagination station engines are revving. Be in the moment. Be heroic. Let go of your inhibitions. Raise your hands in the air and party like you just don't care. Be loose. Be overproductive. Be big and warm and gooey. Be calm. Make happiness shoot out from your surfaces. Shake your tail and articulate your elbows. Be smaller than you are right now. Be a turtle swimming in the sea. Fly like a kite being flown by a toddler. Be cool. Be a strutting peacock. Be relieved. Be spacious. Be like a widget or gear of some sort. Undo your face. Bask in the glory of the word hustle. Shift over to counting. Come back to a relaxed walk. Be still. Be unrelenting. Exert yourself. Be vibrant. Be curious. Create something that is soothing. Breathe with your hands. Move through something. Be moved by something. Orient yourself differently. Repeat being anything you remember. Repeat anything you've already done. Be a tree. Be in a cloud. Be limited by imaginary obstacles. Search for a rhythm. Be in sync with a sound in your environment. Feel your pulse. Find your way in. Crawl your way out. Free up resources. Be generous. Be a litany of memories. Have a moment of coming back to this place. Keep coming back to this place. Be in this place now. Be you are cool right now. Relax. Be open to this being the end of this for now. Noelle? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can we do one at a time?
Yes.
Solo?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Who's gonna go first?
You tell us.
Nicole. Okay.
Okay. Nicole. Let me pull the weed up by the root and notice the soil that I stand on. Is this unnecessary vitriol? Is this what I choose now to rant on? Is there nothing to build and nothing to grow? No more to offer up, nothing to know. Is there a way now that I can let go? Can I look in the mirror and love me more?
I want to go next.
Let me not posture. Let me not front. Let me not say yes to the lives I don't want. Let me not use words that don't mean a thing. Let me be fly as I am. No trying. Let me be good for my heart, not my rep. and let me be still when I can't take a step. Don't let me get too caught creating my face. Let me just love me all over the place. Sorry, they're very short.
I love them.
Noelle, you've written these.
No, God, no.
Oh, it is emergent.
Oh, it's emergent strategy. That was one of the books that Deborah Black wanted us to read for her viewpoints class that I never made it through. Oh, okay, buying it.
Okay, wait, sorry. I just missed. I had the third one and then I freaking lost it. Just give me 1 second. Sorry, Mina, 1 second. Okay. The dream of the cell is to become two. The evolutionary thrust surges through us as dreams, sensations, longings, images, and inexplicable utterances and gestures. We are constantly filling and emptying as we become the dream. From this simplicity of ourselves to the vast complex networks of our brain, we are becoming more. We surrender to the spiral that lives in the blood and plasma, to our circulating breath, turning our dance to the galactic revolutions that spin in the heavens.
This shit is so good that you're reading. The fuck?
The first two was Adrienne Marie Brown, but then this last one I gotta look. It was a quote from some person, Richard Strozzi Heckler.
Yeah, that's not even right. It's so good. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I haven't gotten through the whole thing either, but I got hooked in the beginning and then put it down. But yeah.
Benevolent Instruction Book Club.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of books you could put on that list.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
Because
I think an interesting podcast episode too, like all the
Yeah.
books that could connect to this practice, you know?
Yeah.
Love it. We were just talking.
Read quotes from the books on the podcast. What?
Do what?
Read quotes from the books on the podcast.
Yeah. We were talking last night about the website for benevolent instruction and kind of what it would just be like a simple information hub for stuff, but that maybe it would have a blog where we could have kind of a living organism of posts to kind of keep it connected to stuff that we're reading, stuff that we're like making, pictures, photos, images, sounds, and we just drop little baby blog posts, once or twice a week. No like real writing required. Just, this is Coco, this is what I'm looking at right now, blah, 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 blah. And just have this running log. Like if I sent the link to Nicole and Mina has it, but Noelle, have you ever heard of brainpickings.org?
Yeah.
It's so good. It's just this
Huh.
beautiful, she's like, synthesizes literature and art and culture and politics. And it's just so lovely. Anyway, that was kind of like, it feels like her blog feels like a living organism in a lot of ways. And I was thinking, oh, that would be fun for us. But also, yeah, a book club or a podcast episodes and stuff like that. That would be fun. I love that book. Okay, that's got to go in the Amazon list right now. So, any fun thoughts?
So many fun thoughts. I have so many fun thoughts. I want to go back to what you started with the drum and the bell. Fuck. Okay, so at first, my first sensation was like how I remember modern class when I first started taking modern class. Like they always had some kind of drum that they were dealing with, and I was like, oh, this is some Mary Vigmon shit. Like that's where we are right now. Like that's what I was sensing every time you'd be like the 4 drum beats. I was like, oh, okay. And it actually took me a while though to like get my body into, because like you added something new, right? Like you added something I wasn't ready for. And then when you switched over to the drum wasn't there, but you were asking us to let how did you word it? When
Be
you
a
stop, be a drum. Oh, fucking yeah, be a drum. I could have used more of that because I felt like you did such a great job of like getting me to a place of hearing the drum and feeling the drum and sensing it through my bones and my muscles, and that the bell would clear my eyesight, or what, clear my headspace. So there was so much of it building into that when then I had to sort of be it myself, it was so easy and really lovely, and I could have used even more time to play with this sort of sensation that you've been building inside of me through this other thing. I called it the aftershock. Like I would have liked to have more time to be inside of the aftershock of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of making me think, we've talked about it before about the overall form of benevolent instruction and the idea of like, on one hand, people can just experience these scores discreetly, right? They do one and that's it. And then in these community forums, we sort of have there's a form, right? There's a warm up, there's a series of things. And then, well, sometimes we have our close is sort of the reflection, right? The talking part of it. But it's making me think in reading this too about like the simplicity, complexity journey. It's like it's making me think about what's the, not that it has to be the same every single time, but what's the form of benevolent instruction? Is the warm up to start with simplicity as an entry point to kind of, starting that journey of embodiment? And then what's that middle section of like, how does complexity get built into the language and the instruction? And then how does it sort of come back to simplicity or stay at complex? Anyway, just what you guys are talking about with the drum, it's like, it does feel like such a great initial benevolent instruction, because I really appreciated the simplicity of it and like the spaciousness of the score to really kind of just ground myself in wherever I am right now. And then, but I also relate to what Mina's saying in terms of like longer. And so it just made me think about, so then how would that take me into the next score, or is it just an elongated version of the score? Or anyway, yeah.
When I originally did it, there was like, I can't, it was like double that length. And I was actually playing the things. And then when I redid it, the vocals were already set, and I was just trying to plop in the drum and the bell, and I decided to leave it kind of empty. And it was just, I could have stretched it out. I was in a rush, but yeah, I love that. I could have used more time too. I was like, oh, I just want to like sense what it feels like to be like a beating instrument, you know, and with this resonance in it and this kind of boomy, you know, yeah, spaciousness, and then this like ringing tone, you know. So kind of having a fun time trying to figure out what that was. But yeah, I'm definitely going to re-record that one for us. But I wonder about that too. We've talked about how to structure the podcast a little bit. Like, are there, you know, episodes that, I mean, we're going to drop the episodes as we get them right now, right? There's no curriculum kind of in it. But going forward, if a curriculum develops, you know, for workshops and live events and on just online practices, it's like, yeah, what is that structure? And how do you, once you decide on a structure, right? If it's like simplicity, complexity, simplicity, right? Or if it's anatomical, imagistic, you know, poetic, anatomical, like whatever those kind of just categories are, then, okay, you've decided on the categories. Then how do you get at those things through language with those, like warming the body, warming the mind, warming the listening ear? Then what? You know, what's the language you use to get at more intense activity or more intense image building or dancing? So yeah, it's I think it's something that we're intuitively doing
Yeah.
in so many ways. It just that we're not doing this full time, so we don't. We're coming at it each week with our own specific kind of ideas coming into play. But I think if we, like, you know, if this was our job to sit down and write these things and work these into a curriculum, we would figure those things out. Like, we would be able to kind of pick out what we're doing intuitively and say, ooh, that language really gets at this particular thing, or that kind of rhythmic structure in whatever.
And it's the language, but it's also like us experimenting with what the experience is like interacting with that language. And so it's like each benevolent instruction almost has like a fingerprint. And so it's sort of like which fingerprints go next to which, you know, not just based on the language, but based on sort of like how we've experienced it. Like this one has left us with this really high feeling of elation. And then this one feels like, oh, it really, you know, grounded. It felt like a grounded, not that the experience will be universal by any means, but, you know.
They definitely have, like they have tone.
Yeah.
Each one. Yeah. And you're right. They can bring you kind of down into a quiet space or leave you in this like little manic world. And all along that spectrum, kind of leave you hanging, right? Feeling really resolved, feeling really kind of like, what happened? What just happened? So yeah, these are great questions.
So it seems like they are named or they're categorized afterward. Like we don't say like, I'm going to create an anatomical one and then fucking write something. We do what is coming out of us naturally as the humans that we are. And then we see what the experience of it is. And that's how we can categorize and then create a curriculum from it. Yeah. Because when you started saying like, this one's anatomical, like this one's, I felt myself going, oh, I don't want to have an assignment to create a poetic one and then have to like think about that. You know what I mean? Like I just want to make them and then see what the experience is and then, yeah, develop or name it afterward,
Right.
not presuppose what I think it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily kind of give myself a goal, but I think I do kind of, I have some initial thoughts before I go into like writing one or recording one. That's hard to say though. You're right. I feel like if I'm kind of feel responsible for the warm up of a session, I have this notion in my pedagogy, right, that I do a warm up a certain way, and it starts at the body level. It starts by articulating the body in a particular way and orienting myself to where I am. So those come out in a particular way. Whereas if I'm just trying to create like an experience, a longer kind of more immersive experience, I let myself out of that presupposition of pedagogy, like proper pedagogy. You know, like how are you planning your class, Coco Loop? You know, it's like, and part of that feels like I wish I could kind of get out of that, but it also feels like I'm kind of good at it, right? So it feels like that, yeah, I just keep playing inside of that place to see if I can get better and better and better at it.
It's a skill. Yeah. It's skill and technique that you're practicing.
Right. So I think that like I said, I think we're doing this so intuitively. I wish I had like a scribe, right? That we had a scribe, like a person an intern who could listen to all of them and kind of map, like take notes, like this is, you know, Anna, this is kind of in the body, this is da, 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 and have kind of a little, so you could look at each one and be like, oh, that one could be categorized as this, and this one's more poetic, and this one's more this and that. But
like tags, like anatomy, fucking, you know, breathing, whatever, like tag them.
I mean, we could
So
put
I'm not renaming, I'm sorry, go ahead.
a posting on the website for a benevolent instruction intern. Some college might be really into it. I don't know. I'm just saying. But go ahead, Nicole.
Because I know you're doing the podcast and all of that, I'm not renaming the ones in the regular folder. I'm just naming the community ones, like, you know, how we talked about, I would organize them as far as, so I'm not touching the other stuff because you guys know more about exactly what those are, and they're from before I was here. So I'm not renaming those other ones. I'll just keep track of the community file one.
that's great. Yeah. That's
I wanted to say that a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot.
no, it's fine. So yeah, any other, like, I know we have to kind of wrap this up. Any other feelings, things that stood out? I don't know. Anything?
I don't know how to explain it, but I really feel like there is, and I leave myself out of this because I didn't bring anything today, new score wise, but I feel like there's a development happening with how the scores are being written. Like we're really building, I really feel like we're building upon all of the things that we're talking about, and that the scores are they're really taking us places
Mm.
in yeah, like there's a depth to me. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's not about like improvement or getting better. It's just like it's all of this has kind of taken us further down a path, and I feel like the I can feel that in the scores,
Mhm.
but I don't know how to explain how exactly they're doing that.
Right.
Or
Well,
maybe just us doing, I don't know, maybe it's just us doing it too, or for as long as we have, I don't know, anyway.
I think it is. I mean, obviously, it's time, right? Like, just like anything else. I was telling Coco last night, like, you want to get good at pirouettes, start turning and turn a lot, like, keep turning, right? Like, there's something about that, just by the nature of us being consistent in this practice, there is going to be sort of a natural trajectory of improvement, if that's what we want to call it. And I do think that for me, there's a difference between the way I approached making these scores early on. Like, I would just freestyle. Like, I would literally just get on my phone, be like, I just start talking about some stuff that was in my head and that maybe my body wanted to do right then, which is great. But I will say that I do feel like in the process of making now, I am treating it much more the way I would treat perhaps a dance, right? Like, I'm paying attention to where I start. I'm paying attention to what I think the next thing is, which could be disjointed from the way I start. But then I'm curious about, like, callback. Like, if this is how I started, even though I've gone somewhere else, like, how am I calling back this original idea and then letting it be some connective tissue inside of it. So then when I look at it or when I hear it or when when we're doing these new ones, I do feel like, oh, this is a thing. It is growing, it is developing, it is becoming, in a sense, a little more, for lack of a better word, mature in some ways, as opposed to like in the early days when I was just like spouting out stuff, which I still think some of that stuff was really good, but I wasn't taking into consideration, what does it mean to build something that feels a little more cohesive, or that just allows for a natural through line to connect? Because for anybody who's doing it, they're going to enjoy it in whatever way they can enjoy it in that moment. But if there is some way that I can create pathways of connection, then I'm interested in knowing that as a practitioner of writing these, as well as being inside of them. So yeah, I think that consistency of doing it is development, but also, I don't know. I know I'm paying attention more to how I want these to unfold.
Yeah. I think so too. I feel like at first it was just a real curiosity about doing a string of things. Does this translate? What does it look like if all of these unrelated things are just done? It was not necessarily a choreographic, compositional interest. It was more of just trying to get my body to give myself something to do. So it didn't feel like as much of an exploration. It felt more of an exercise. An exercise to get myself moving, doing physical things. So the string of things didn't matter. It was just, as opposed to doing nothing, here are a bunch of things you can do, right? That's how it started. And now I feel like it's turned into much more of an exploration of like specific kinds of physicality, specific kinds of embodiment, specific ways of imagining yourself in a place, be it a dance or an imaginary world or something. They feel less like exercises and more like actually opportunities to perform, meditate, train, like be in a creative conversation with myself and others. So I think that's for me kind of how it's changed over time. And so in that change and going from exercise to exploration, the same thing that Mina was talking about feels like I'm considering things in a way that, like, what would complete this experience, this exploration? Um what would make this experience and exploration a little richer? What would push the comfort level of this exploration? What would pull you back into a place of stability? These kinds of things. And it's all composition at that point. I mean, I think that we said it before. Noelle, you said there's like fingerprints on each one of these, and I feel like these would, whatever's behind these would translate right into the way we make dances as individuals.
Yeah.
If you could extrapolate the DNA of these and shoot them into like a finished dance, you go, oh yeah, there's that. That's the DNA, right? That's it. So I think just we didn't know it maybe at first, but it's giving us a way to be choreographers again in just a really different way.
And I also want to say, I still hold so much like love and value for the way we started this, like just the rambling off of ideas. Like I still, like I will go back to that again. Like I'm not departing from that. I think that as we continue this, though, I just become more and more curious about what can I develop, what can this become, and so. But yeah, I still am hardcore in love with the sort of just falling into a place of idea. Some of it's movement based, some of it's like building, world building. Like I will go back to it.
I like that. I
Yeah.
want to maybe go back to that one. Okay.
I might do that today. I don't know.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. So at some point,
Send schedules.
yeah, send schedules. Please record yourself saying one fabulous line from one of your own, let's just say one of your own scripts, or create a new fabulous line and send them to me. They will go into a folder and
Michael.
we'll all record each one, trying to be exactly like the original recording. Dump them in the folder. They all go to Michael.
Should it be like 30 seconds long, a minute long? What would you like time wise?
Oh, it's like just a line of a poem.
It doesn't matter how long it is, like time wise.
Well, it's got to be the intro to the podcast. So it's got to be short, right? Like something like 4 beats or 6 beats of words,
Okay.
right? Because once he puts those together, then they become 24 beats or 32 beats. And that takes time.
Gotcha.
And we don't want them
Gotcha.
to be more than like 20 seconds long. So
Where do we drop them? In which folder?
I'll create a folder and share it with you. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. We'll be in touch about doing a podcast episode. We got to figure out how to get us all in a podcast. We got to figure out how to get me and Mina in the same podcast episode, which is difficult technologically, strangely enough. Then we have to figure out how to get us all 4 into one.
Yeah. Also, real quick, are we on for next Wednesday as a community one? It would be, normally our schedule would be next Wednesday would be community.
I can do that. It is the Wednesday before Christmas.
Yeah.
Noelle, how's that feel for you? That's good?
Good for me. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it out.
Okay, I'll create the link and send it to you. I love you guys. I have to go to work.
Oh.
Bye. Mina, we'll have to catch up later, I guess. Yeah, because I really do have to get in the shower.
Okay. Let me know. Just text me.
That was a really cool conversation.
Yeah. I love them so much. And I think it's important. I mean, these conversations are important. Noelle is great. Like her questioning of process and content and concept, like I just feel like,
And form.
oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad she made us do it as solos today. That was so fun because they were short, but we got to just focus on each other.
I know, it was beautiful.
Generous. And I was like, fucking, these are smart people. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna upload this to YouTube. What's to add on tomorrow and send it to us, all of us. So we have it.
All right.
All right. What do you want to drop as the podcast?
Oh my God. I don't know. Okay. Oof. I don't know. I really like both of yours. But I think that the drumming one would have to
change.
yeah. I mean, what are your feelings?
I like yours too. You just didn't record it.
Mine's not done though. I mean, I could get mine done. I like it. I think it's a thing. But
It's beautiful. I love it. Why don't we, if you want to do yours, if you feel like you have time, why don't you drop yours as a podcast episode? And then we'll just keep mine in the hopper.
are you sure? All right. I mean, because if you don't have time to like re-record, especially that drumming one, the drumming one is really good. Like, man, I had so many.
I don't have time to do it before I go to work.
I got you. Okay. We have every week. Every week we're going to be dropping something. So, all right.
If you get desperate, you have, I'll drop the one being something.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because that one's ready.
It's ready. It's ready.
Put it in the Google Drive.
Okay. Okay. I know. I feel like I'm leaving all these loose ends, but Trader Joe's calls.
Okay. I love you. This was wonderful. We'll talk again more.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be in touch with you over the weekend sometime. Okay. Bye.